Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Jessica Gruber from Buzzworks, and this is the Giver Marketing Network Tuesday Masterclass. We're going to be talking about promotion today. This is the third Tuesday of the month, and we're gonna be drilling down and hearing a little bit from Jessica, her story, her background, and ultimately we're going to go into social proof marketing. Everybody needs to be noticed. Everybody needs to promote. Everybody needs positive attention. And Jessica has a cool kind of backstory that she's going to be sharing here in a second. But pay attention, get your notebooks out, get your digital devices out, start taking notes, record this if you can in some way, and let's jump in. Jessica, welcome. This is so fun. We've got a chance to get to know each other a little bit, but we're going to dive even deeper today. Can you share with us your a little bit of your story, like just your background, like how did you get into marketing to begin with? Who do you normally work with? How can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I am a digital marketer. I'm the founder of Buzzworks. How I got into it was I actually went to college. So I'm one of those people that actually went to college and I'm using my degree. It's right there. That's some
Yay.
social proof. We're going to be talking about that today.
Social proof, yes.
So I graduated college. I started working for agencies of small, big. And from there, I broke off on my own because I wanted to start my family. And so I started freelancing and now I've built it up into a digital agency. We've been running for 10 years and we specifically serve the nonprofit sector. That's kind of my passion and joy because they are the ones making this impact on people in their lives and changing the world. So they're kind of the trend centers.
How
And
did you end up going toward the nonprofit side? Because I people ask me this same question all the time. Like, how come you did that instead of this? Like, what brought? Did you get a job, or like, how did that happen to begin with?
I've always had nonprofits in kind of the I've always served nonprofits, and it wasn't until COVID when I had to homeschool my kids,
Mm-hmm.
pay people to do what I couldn't do in my agency because I was homeschooling my kids.
Right.
And I just sat down one day and I was like, I'm not making a lot of money. And if I'm not going to make a lot of money, who do I want to serve? And it came back to
Okay.
nonprofits.
So you started serving. Then your digital agency started growing. Now it's not as much about just who you want to serve, but also bringing high quality and now obviously you're making a good living now doing that. And so, gosh, let us know a little bit about what you want to talk about today. By the way, side note, I was homeschooled. Homeschooled kids are not all weird. I'm a little quirky sometimes, but we're good. It's
I sent my
okay.
kids back. I could not do it. The noise.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Some folks just get them started and be like, "Hey, go ahead and finish out with the regular school system. That's cool." That's what happened to me. My mom couldn't handle me either. Don't worry about it. So, all right, well, cool. So let's jump into social proof marketing. What conversation starters, questions, tips do you have for us today to kind of get our master class, our mastermind kind of going before we get into questions and answers from our VIP green room participants today?
So I'm going to start with this question. Timothy, I've been having problems with my mic. People say I'm in this loud room and it's kind of echoing. So, what mic do you use?
Gosh, I don't remember the brand, but it's this big guy right here. I don't remember exactly
But why do you like it?
because it has clarity and it's it's like it's not too big, it's not too small, it's just like perfect size. Uh, that's the functional side. The clarity is really what I'm going for when it comes to a mic. Yeah,
Do you remember where you bought it?
Amazon, I
Amazon?
think. I think, yeah.
I think I got mine off of Amazon. So, what you just did to me was
Mhm.
social proof marketing.
Oh, okay. Tell me how.
I said, "Hey, you're the expert.
Mhm,
You're running this whole workshop. You're
mhm,
doing it every week. He must have a good mic. I
mm.
need a good mic. So I sound good too. So I sound like Timothy."
Oh, okay. So Yeah, it's like kind of the influencer socially approved kind of question. Okay, I see what you're saying. The psychology of that kind of started kicking in after you explained it. I get it. Okay.
Yes. Social proof is all about the psychology. We like, as humans, we like
Hmm.
to be individuals,
Hmm.
but our brain will look at people and say, "Oh, they have something I want. They got success this way, and they were in the exact same situation. So I'm just going to copy them. I'm going to shortcut this,
Okay.
and I'm going to try it out."
So that's why the influencer game is such a big deal. It's not just because we talk about it. It actually, like, it's part of our DNA. It's like part of our wiring. It's like how we do things in general. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and when you can tie that influence into emotion. So later we're going to be talking about the 6 different types.
Mhm.
One of them is experts. If you can get that expert to buy in, you're not paying them to promote your product. You got their buy-in. Now you're getting them emotional. People buy on emotion, and we want to gravitate towards happiness. And so if something was successful, then they're going to go. They're going to move.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to be talking about a handful of different types of social proof. It sounds like as many as we can get to today, right? Before we get questions, and I know there's going to be some questions coming from the audience. So if you're in the audience right now and you have a question, put them in the comments. We have people kind of checking out the comments, and we'll circle back if we don't get to your question. But put your questions in the comments so they can come through as we talk about these handful of tips around social proof and influencer type marketing.
Yeah. So let's go into why it's important. So if you can tap into that honest, genuine power of social proof marketing, you're no longer that one person trying to speak your story, trying to get it out there. You have kind of like your group that is that are people that are telling your story for you. You're not alone in the world anymore. And when you get people talking about you, that's when your brand is established because people are talking to you when you're not even there.
Do we know inherently, Jessica, that we can't know that we can't understand everything ourselves, and we have to get some data input from others in order to make better decisions? Is that what's happening here? I'm trying to understand the science, like the neuroscience of this. Like, have you do you even have an answer for that? I don't know, but I'm just thinking out loud here. Like, why do people do this to begin with? Like, how does it work?
Well, it all comes back to self gratification. It helped
Mhm.
them. I mean, you have it's pretty much a herd concept. I'm going to
Okay.
go
So like a group
with
concept
the
or a herd
herd,
concept? Yeah, I
and it's
gotcha.
going to protect me from any danger.
Ooh, now we're getting into the details of this. Wow, super interesting. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to take you off into the the scientific, conversation piece, but to me it's really interesting of like the fact that we can't really avoid this, and it's part of how we do what we do is super powerful because what you're about to give us is like a first principle or a marketing 101. Like, don't forget this. This is how we make decisions. I love this.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's not about what you say you do,
Hmm.
but it's what people say you do when you aren't even around, and that's what builds your brand, and that's what's so amazing about this social proof and why it's necessary, and why it's one of the biggest accelerators in your business is once you get people talking about you,
Hmm.
then it just keeps rolling and snowballing and building your business.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so what was tip number one? Again, remind. Oh, we didn't get there yet. Tell me what's tip
Okay.
number one. I'm like anticipating right now.
Okay. So your first one is tap into your experts. Um, can you think of the number one, and if you need a hint, I'll give it, the number one expert approval in the product industry.
Product industry. Like ratings and reviews from other people that
No,
no.
Christmas time. It's a
Christmas
show.
Christmas time show. You're gonna have to help me.
She brings on a bunch of gifts.
Miss
Oprah.
Oprah. Oh, okay. All right. So that's a product, an example of a product in like a product placement or a product
Mhm.
promotion from an influencer that brings a ton of credibility and it just blows up
Yes.
the
So
revenue and the purchases of those products.
yes, and one of her gifts was the Bindle bottle. As
Hmm.
soon as she brought it on,
Mm-hmm.
her show, there was a 4,000 increase, and the Bindle bottle is just some sort of thermos. I don't even have one. I had to Google it. What's a Bindle
Yeah.
bottle? But it
Sounds
increased
fun.
sales by 4,000%.
4,000%.
Yes,
So
just by being
basically,
on her show.
it's like product placement with a name that has such power as far as attention and
Mm,
credibility that you're like, I might not even need that, but I'm gonna try it anyway because like it seems kind of like the fun thing to do, the right thing
yes,
to do.
yes,
Okay,
and she's an extreme example. If
right.
you're a smaller business, yes, go after Oprah, but look at the experts in your industry that have already been established and how you can align their brands, your brand with their brand
Okay. I
to
like that.
get their buy-in and so that they start talking about you.
Does that work for the nonprofit and the for-profit side? Does it just work in general
It
based
works
on
in general.
okay, gotcha, gotcha. All right, that's tip number 1. I like that. Just connect say it again in the way that you said it. What's tip number 1?
Is
E
finding your experts.
expert. Okay, so find they don't have to be like Oprah level. They can be like somebody just a little bit more attention and credibility than maybe where you're at right now.
I mean, if you offer a service, you're not gonna go after Oprah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I gotcha. Okay. So some kind of expert that makes sense for what you're doing and they have a little bit more attention, credibility, and maybe been on the road a little longer than you. And if they say thumbs up, we see this in email marketing a lot. Somebody will say thumbs up to a product or service or collaboration. Then all of a sudden there's a bunch of folks coming from different areas saying, oh, I want that too.
Mm,
Okay, that's cool. Find your expert, ladies and gentlemen. What's tip number 2, Jessica?
your influencers. So Oprah is an expert, or she is an influencer, but she's also an expert.
Mhm.
Influencers. Influencers are people that have networks of people. So you want to find these influencers that are aligned with your same market
Oh,
and
I see
start
what you
build,
mean.
yeah, and
So
start
there
building.
could be some people that are influencers but not experts, and there could also be people that are experts but not influencers, and there could be people that are both.
Yes.
Okay.
And this right here, this is an example of influencing. You're an influencer. I think you had like over 8,000 people on your LinkedIn profile, but I'm a micro influencer. So you have different levels of influencers. You have influencers, you have micro influencers. I'm connected to a bunch of influencers. So we're on this show together. And while I'm not a big influencer, my or sorry, while I'm not a big influencers, my influencers are able to see this show.
Right. So it all helps everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody helps everybody if as long as we're giving hand out, hand up and trying to help everybody get some positive attention for their mission. I like it.
Yes.
That's right in line with what we do. I love this. Okay, so find your expert. I'm not going to remember all these right off the bat, but find your expert, find your influencer. Sometimes they can be a similar person, but either way, get somebody who has credibility, and then that influencer side is really more about their audience and their following and the people, their network, and all that stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and an easy way to do that, to visually do that, because it's kind of hard to sit down. If you're not used to networking and looking at connections and
Hmm.
connecting, do it in a relationship map. Start with a person
Hmm.
that you know is an expert or
Hmm.
is connected to an expert.
Hmm.
Start with that person and start mapping out people that in that network that you need to tap into
Mm.
to create those relationships. And now you know where your relationship with that person needs to go.
Oh, we should do another talk sometime about how to leverage LinkedIn for that. That's super fun. Okay. Tip number 3. What do you got for us, Jessica? I'm excited.
Testimonials. And this is one of my favorites because it's the easiest for small businesses and mid businesses to get this. This is almost, you can literally set up a system.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into that because I know later on in this month you're having Google Business Profile talk and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that ties into that. But you can literally set up a system that after you offboard, you're collecting these testimonials, and it's an easy thing to do. There's ways to identify when someone does leave a testimonial. The longer that testimonial is, the bigger super fan they are.
I like that. I like that. So say more than two words or 5 words. Like give us a couple sentences so that Google can pick it up and the algorithms, but then more people see it and then it starts a snowball effect. I like that. So the testimonials or reviews of any kind, either verbal or written or of any kind, that would make sense
Yes.
as far as feedback.
And it doesn't even have to stop at your clients that you serve. You can get a testimonial for, are you looking for new hires? I know hiring is a struggle right now.
Yeah, good
Are
point.
you looking to get new employees? Well, go interview your employees and get that testimonial. Or are you looking for new volunteers at your nonprofit?
Good point. I got you.
Go get the stories from the volunteers and share them and show that you have built a community within your nonprofit so more people want to join in and
I
give
love
their
that. That reminds me of the phrase, what's praised is repeated.
Mhm.
That works for kids too. You're a mother, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But just whatever's praised verbally or on video or in written form, whatever's good things are being said. We always call them kind words. We don't call them reviews because it's like, give us a review privately, but give us some kind words publicly, and then we'll all benefit the most. I'm just
Yeah,
being like that's how we say it. Just say some kind words or some kind of positive feedback, and we're good. I like
yeah.
that. That's
And
cool.
it goes back to now these people that are giving you kind words, they're now becoming influencers, especially if they're putting it on social media, because now their social media network is seeing that um, that they enjoy working with you, and now they're like, "Oh, what's this shiny object over here? I need to go check out."
Yeah, good point. Okay, so some kind of testimonial or written or verbal or like video feedback of some kind that gives positivity to what's happening and that creates this whirlwind of social proof. I love that. Love that. Okay, so that was number 3, right? Where
Mhm.
are we? What's number 4 and 5?
Number 4 is large crowds.
Hmm,
Why do you think people do events? Why do you think people do events to sell stuff?
that's a
Live
good
events.
question. Why do people do events? Like it's the most basic thing.
They
And we've
usually
always done it,
lose
but
money
why do we
on
do
the
it?
on the actual event. They will usually lose money.
Yeah, many times. Not always, but many times. I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
It's because you're creating this, it's like the imperfect environment. It's a perfect selling environment because everyone is hyped up. Everyone sees everyone's successes. They're all in this little bitty room, and this energy is elevated, and it allows people to more easily say yes because they're hooked up on this dopamine of gratification right now.
So if I hear you right, everything you just said earlier, the influencer or the expert, the influencer, the testimonials, those are all built in to an event kind of organically. It's not you have people coming up on stage sharing testimonies, you got influencers up there talking about each other, you got kind of everybody, showcasing their best and their brightest and all this. And so it creates this, like you said, energy in the room that's like you can't help but feel like dopamine hit. You can't help but feel like you're gonna do something great walking out that room because you're just, especially if you're like me, like an extrovert, you're like, I just got charged up with a like a battery. I'm just like excited right now.
I have a rule. I will not purchase at an event.
Oh,
I will go and wait. Every event planner is going to hate me, but I do not purchase at an event now. I will be
it's
there.
unfair. There's too many good things going on. It's just like it's like
Well, that's
it's
why
like
they've
window shopping in Paris or something. You're just like, this is unfair. Like, how do I not buy something? This is awesome.
Well, that's the reason why they've had to change events. Now you see this push of no pitching, no selling
Mm.
at events because people know this now that events are there to sell. And so now events are there to build the relationship to bring them back into their world to sell later on.
This is relational intelligence at a deeper level, ladies and gentlemen. Write down these notes. And pretty soon Jessica's going to pitch us her whole entire system. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But and you know what? You're right. There was a time when we would allow people to kind of sneak in a pitch here and there, and we just realized, you know what? People just want to connect with you in an authentic way. They'll find you. Go look up Jessica Gruber right now on socials all over the place. Like, just go find her. Type her in whatever social you're in. Look her up on Google, Buzzworks. Look up Buzzworks. Look up her company name, her personal name. Go check her out. See if she's worth somebody you want to work with. We love promoting in that way, but that's more of in a relational context of what's naturally happening, right? So, all right. So before we get to the last one, I'm going to challenge everybody watching and listening, even if you're on the replay and you're listening, type in a question. The, the, the benefits of you typing in your own question is actually just as powerful as getting some positive or good answer to that question. Just the act of asking the question itself, get your mind going. And then as you're talking to others throughout the day, as you get feedback from Jessica and our team and different people, you're going to benefit from that. So ask the question. No question's too silly. Like, just ask the question. Everybody will benefit in the group or on the social channel that you're asking that question. And I'm using social proof right now, and a little bit of positive social pressure to encourage people to ask the question. Did I do good, Jessica? Did I
You
do
did
okay?
excellent. Awesome job.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Number 5. Let's wrap it up with number 5.
Okay, the last one is friend association. How many times have you gone out and your friend had some? It's pretty much the Jones concept.
Mm.
You've gone out, your friend has something new, and you're like, I need that in my life.
Mm.
I
So
mean,
friend association, that's like, tell me more. Tell me more about that.
okay, so an example for me, probably it's been 8 years when paleo diet really hit
Mm-hmm.
hard in the dieting world. I had a friend who did it. And she was like, this is the best thing ever. I feel so good. You need to do it, Jess. And I don't diet. And I was like, okay, well, I see she's happy and she's losing the weight. I'm going to try it. And so we went on the paleo diet, and then I'm buying recipe books, and then I'm buying all this stuff to support. And now I'm buying all this organic food. So it's very much of your friends will influence what you want.
Okay. So there's a natural organic,
You trust them.
like it's like it's not necessarily always a pressure. It's just an observation that happens, like keeping up with the Joneses, like is what you were saying earlier. Like, what are my neighbors doing? What are my friends doing? What are the people at church doing? What are the people at this organization I'm involved with doing? Like, um, I'm just curious. I'm just curious of how to apply that in a business or a nonprofit setting. Can you help us with that?
Um, well, I think it goes back to making those relationships beyond a transaction, um, and solidify. I mean, I have clients from 10 years ago when I first started my business, just because I built that relationship. And if you know an ad agency, a client a return rate is about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I've built these relationships with these clients that they're like, you're the only one I'm going to use for website design.
Got it. So the work you do, it goes beyond a business transaction. It's a relational connection that, if I'm hearing you right, is really tied and velcroed together with multiple, like, you got the experts, you got the influencer dynamic going on, just being on shows like this and having some fun talking about your genius, doing all that. And then you got all these other pieces, and then finally you got the kind of like, who do you know? Who would you consider a friend who might want to connect with me and work with me just like they're working with you? And it becomes, it's not necessarily that they're an expert or an influencer. They're just somebody you trust. They're just like in your circle, just naturally, organically, right?
Yep,
Okay,
exactly.
got it. So you want to distinguish that from expert or influencer because not all of your friends have that following or that expertise in a particular area that would associate with what you do, but they do know people.
Yes.
And so that's the important thing. Wow, this is fun. It's almost like digital networking. And I know Christine and Jennifer and Tim are going to jump in and start. We like to surprise our guests. Not sort of surprise. I mentioned it before, but we like to come into the room and put you on the hot seat, Jessica. Is that something you're okay with today?
Yeah.
If we were to ask you some questions around social proof in relation to marketing and promotion and getting the word out and doing it in a way that it makes sense for your brand and what's going on. So, let's Stacy, let's go ahead and bring in some of our green room team members, and let's ask some questions to Jessica around. I know that Christine Dean already had a kind of a reference point. Maybe we can jump in with that, Christine. You were
Yeah.
talking about, what
Little
is it, a movie? You were putting something in the chat that was about a movie or something.
Yeah, there was a movie about, if anybody's seen, what was it? Something about Ron's Gone Wrong, something like that. Do you remember that one? Ron's Gone Wrong movie.
Was
And
it
it
about
had the
a robot or something?
little robots, and they were going around, and they were like your social robots. So all the kids at the school had them, and so they were all lined up while they were in class, and they'd pop out and they'd take them out on the resource, and you have blah 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 many likes. I mean, it was a whole spoof on the whole concept of social proof, right? And this one's
that's
crying
fun.
because nobody's watching, and this one's got a video going viral, and so it really is all about that concept. And so when Jessica was talking, I was like, yes.
Sounds like a fun holiday movie to me. I love that. That's funny. I have to go check it out. Very cool. So yeah, there's these movies that kind of lean into that funny. I'm sure that there's bunches of them. If you really think about social proof and like social, like I'm thinking about that video where the guy, like, when things go viral, when the guy dancing and then the other person dancing and then the other person dancing, like there's just like that kind of energy you were talking about, Jessica, that in the room or the proximity where people just like, why not? Like, I'm gonna try it. Like, that's fun. All right, cool.
Or like TikTok, right? Trending sounds.
A lot of
Oh, what's the
trends.
trending sound? Oh, well, I want to be in. I want people to follow me and watch my stuff. So I'm going to use the same music that they use because that's now the official trending music, right? So
Yeah. A
same
lot of
kind of thing.
a lot of trends start at the core level with these first principles that Jessica was talking about. Without them, nothing really trends, right?
Yeah. And if you take a look, LinkedIn, the whole system is going back to our talk. The whole system is based off of relationship mapping and finding those people. I think I saw a question popped up of how to start reaching out to the influencers. So it was, how do you tactfully address expert influencers to acknowledge you and get involved with your brand? I would start with your network. I would start with your trusted network. See who they're connected to. And it goes back to just, okay, this person is connected to X. This person can get me to so-and-so. And starting really building and nurturing those relationships. I mean, you don't want to go full in and say, hey, I need an influencer. That will make you pay for the influence. You will have to pay for them. Start commenting on their social feeds. Start building that relationship. After you start commenting, maybe send them a private message. Talk to them a little bit there. Then ask them to get on a virtual call. Bring them into your world so that they're able to experience the goodness you have.
I wonder sometimes, Jessica, if we overcomplicate some aspects of marketing, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying if we bring it down to these first principles, like, okay, I want to engage with an influencer. Well, if I know what rooms they're in or what platforms they're on, social or not, like, what if I was actually physically in the room with them and they were available to talk? What would I do? Like, just thinking back, like, I would probably find out who knows that person. I'd be like, hey, do you know the guy or gal who just put this event on? I'm just curious, like, do you know that like, how do you know them? What's their background? Can you tell me a little bit more about them? Then get some information and go approach them and give them something that they would value. Like, don't just give them something like that they've been looking for. Hey, I know somebody who might want to, like, I hear you're hiring and it's been tough. I know a few people that might be interested in applying for that position or whatever. Like, doesn't matter what it is. Like, find a way to bless them. Like, give them something that they're going to remember you. Like, oh, he's the giver. She's the giver. She's the person who came up to me and didn't take from me in the middle of my event. Like, why would you? That's weird when people DM other people and start pitching and start asking for stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense.
So the biggest thing with influencers, they're normal people too. And everyone looks up to them. They just want to be treated like a normal person too.
Come on, that's like relationship 101 right there in the business.
I mean, I seriously, if there's an influencer in the room and I want to meet them, I kind of like I kind of not like knowing they're an influencer and having it be an accident that I meet them. And then I start looking at their profile. I'm like, oh, he's established or she's established.
I could see you totally being like, oh, you're the one that.
Naivety is sometimes a blessing.
I could totally see you doing that. All right.
But that's the idea, right? The being authentic, right? Be human, develop a relationship. This is crazy talk. You mean we get to meet other people and develop relationships? No. What are you talking about here? That's
all
way
right,
too
what other
normal,
questions
right?
do we have for Jessica today? You're right, Christine. Tim or Jennifer, I know, Jennifer, you like to kind of way back, just assess and get your thoughts together and your question. Like, but anybody else have any questions for Jessica around social proof, promotion, how to do this intelligently? Like, what kind of questions do you have for her?
I was going to add in when Jessica was mentioning about what to do to get in touch with those influencers, right? Follow them. This way you set the notifications. This way you know when they post and you can be one of the first responders so they can see you right away. Because if they get a lot of responses, you may get lost in the wash, right? So you want to be at the top of that so that you get to see. Repost something that they have, tag them in it, right? And give them kudos. Hey, loved when they did this or the other, right? So then you show up in their feed now because you've tagged them, right? So little things like that to kind of.
That's classy. That's the classy way to do it. Spamming people and like annoying them the crap out of them. Like what? Like who does? Like why do you do that? Like use at least 7th grade intelligence here. Like let's just be real and connect. Stacy, what do you got?
I actually got one of my clients through doing that, Christine. So I followed him on LinkedIn and I engaged with his LinkedIn post. And then all of a sudden I see this post about him hiring. And he is somebody who had never hired a contractor before. And he didn't know how it was going to work. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, can we have a talk? Like, I think I can really help you with this problem, but I don't like to be an employee. I'm done being an employee. I'm unemployable now, but I can still help you. So we had this conversation and he's been my client now since I think April. Yeah. And it's been going like really well. And he's probably, besides my giver marketing crew here, I must give some kudos there. He's probably one of the easiest clients I work with. Invoice him, gets paid 2 days later. Love it. I don't have to question a thing. I don't have to, there's no questioning about what I did for work. Like when I worked in this field as an employee, you were micromanaged on everything. It's awesome. It's great. So, but that's how I got it. Found his post on LinkedIn, followed him every day on LinkedIn, found that post of him hiring and just went, hey, Have you ever thought about doing it remotely and having somebody who really likes the telephone to do this? And he went, oh, we need to talk. He's like, you like the telephone? And I said, yeah. So
Yes.
it
Well,
worked out really well.
that's a good example, Stacy. And it's important to note too, like the Giver Marketing Network is here to support you and your business growth. We have no employees. There's 60 something of us running around. And Stacy, you're one of the original gangster gals that just came in and just blew this thing up. And then Christine comes in, and Tim and Jennifer and a bunch of other, and Joel and other people are like, hey, we got our own micro businesses, but we want to grow as a tribe, like as a network, and we want everybody to grow together. There might be, differences in personality and some different things like that, but at the end of the day, we want to help and serve our clients. And so, Jessica, thanks for getting these conversation points going really well. Tim, I know you got a question for Jessica today. I could see it in that little grin that you always give when we're on these master classes. What do you got?
I think I'm in the same line as what we've been talking about. You mentioned it earlier. So I don't know, as of recent, I don't know what you say, connected with or onboarded several high level influencers into my LinkedIn community, and I have no idea how to leverage that. And I've had other people contact me and say, "Can I be a part of your network? Because I want to be tied or connected to the people you're connected to." I'm like, "Who? Like, I don't even know." It's kind of like I haven't done what Jessica was just talking about, to go in and see who these people are and how influential they are. So,
well, see there, you got to talk to Jessica offline and work on some stuff together. You can help her with her noble purpose and brand, like all that kind of stuff, and then Jessica can help you with that. And see, marketing professionals can work together, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. It's all right. It's like mechanics trying to work on an engine. Like, it's okay to work together and figure it out. It's all right.
There's so many facets in digital marketing and marketing right now. It's just insane.
It's just all over the place. Jennifer, what do you got?
I had a couple of the same questions that have already been asked, so I have a different one. You mentioned large audiences and like getting into large rooms. What would be your best advice in doing that? And is it better to get into somebody else's large room, or should you be pursuing bringing masses of people in front of your stage?
I told you, she sits back and waits and asks like the amazing question. Okay, what do you got?
I'm both, really. You should be attending the events that your target market is sitting in, so you can build those relationships, so you can build that following. But you should also be building your own events. So right now, I'm building my own workshop series, and it's going to start in November 3rd. And the whole workshop series is about attracting your donors. And we're starting with the relationship mapping and donor profiling. So that way they know exactly who they need to go after to start building their nonprofit.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is an example of a brilliant question and a brilliant answer, and slipping in just a little bit of what's coming up and organic. And I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not joking. That was absolutely precision class. The way you ladies just did that, and the way that you're able to slip in a little bit of what's coming out, kind of a little bit of a teaser without like getting too pitchy about it. Like, it was just a natural part of the conversation. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you can do that when you're on a master class or a podcast or a workshop, and you're there to serve and give value to the audience, but still be like professional enough to be able to slip in, like, I'm proud of what I'm doing. I have a workshop coming up in November. Reach out to Jessica. Buzzworks, like, look her up and ask her about that workshop. If you're in the nonprofit space, I'm telling you right now, I've worked with a ton of nonprofits. So has Christine and Tim. Actually, everybody on here has worked with a ton of nonprofits. Jessica is the real deal. I can just tell by having this conversation and in our previous conversations that she is legit. She knows what she's talking about. Try to grab a spot at her workshop if you can. But bottom line is reach out to her, see if she's a good fit for what you're doing, and really appreciate everybody in the room today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stacy, is there anything else that we need to kind of mention? Who's coming up next week? Anything like that I forgot? I always forget about things, and Stacy keeps
Next week is yours truly. Next week it's me, yours truly.
You have to come back on and see it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yes.
Stacy, I'm excited. I get an interview.
I'm going to talk about nurturing. Timothy, it's
Yes.
going to be your least favorite way of nurturing, because Timothy doesn't really care for the telephone, but Stacy loves the telephone. So this next week is going to be all about. So we'll see you same time, same channel next Tuesday.
The telephone. She's gonna nurture the telephone. It's gonna be great. All right, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, same channel. Look for the link so you can jump in and watch, or stay on the channel you're on so you can watch the live stream. Put those comments in even after the live stream during the replay. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your questions. Jessica wants to go back and just touch base with you if you have any questions. So, and all of us will be here to help you. Okay. So God bless. We'll see you next time. Good job, Jessica. That was fun.
That was fun. Awesome.